What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Deadpool's Theory, along with my partner Jarvis. I am Jman, kicking off another week here on the Deadpool's Theory. Got another 3 topics for you. As you can tell by the title, we got some big hot button issues here that we're discussing.
Should we just call them hot buttery rolls?
Hot topics. Oh wait, that's already taken.
Yeah, it is tough. It's already taken.
Hot buttery rolls. We're rolling off the topics of rolls of butter. Hot topics. It's so hot. I'm gonna buy a Stranger Things shirt. Hot topics. I don't think anybody ever talks like that. But yeah, so we got some big issue topics here for you guys, and one just kind of random one that we tossed in the middle, which is kind of how we're doing things. But yeah, the first one we get started off here, we're actually filming this and shooting this video. I know we're uploading it the midweek. We're actually shooting this video back on Friday when obviously the terrible mass shooting happened at the Texas school. I believe it was in Santa Fe, Texas, I want to say. There's 10 people killed, and just another adding to the list of mass shootings happening in our country, which is just getting to be deplorable. I mean, it's honestly, it's just getting to be to the point to where it's just you add it to the the epidemics that are going on in this world, whether it be drug addictions or whether it be obesity or whether it be any sort of issue that's just become an epidemic. I mean, this is added to the list in my opinion. It's just become sickening, honestly, in my opinion. You continue to see, you turn on the news and it seems like on a weekly basis there's something going on, whether it revolves around a shooting at a school or shooting at a workplace or just some sort of gun-related violence happening. Right. Happening with this country, and it's just gotten to the point to where it's sad, and it looks so bad for everybody on the outside looking in to our country and how things are going. It's sad, and it really paints a bad picture for what's going on. But it's an issue that we've been dealing with for quite some time, and it's escalated. It's only escalated in the intensity of the issues that are going on here and the shootings and things like that. But I know it's one of the things that when we first, again, one of the ideas of this show is getting these, these really key topics of what's going on in our culture and going on in our country is obviously one of the things that I wanted to discuss, because I just feel like there is such an easy route to alleviate at least some of this. Obviously, you're not going to completely be able to take away guns from these people. You can't do it. I mean, I get that.
At least ban the AR. I think that might be a good start.
Yeah, for sure.
Assault rifles, any automatic weapons. Like, what?
Nobody needs that.
What's the reason for
Nobody
having
needs
those?
That. I mean,
I get it. Like, if you want to keep your hunting rifles and you got your hunting people and you have your handguns for protection, but like,
right.
What's the reason to have an assault rifle? What's the reason to have any automatic weapon?
There's none.
Like, you're not going out in the woods and you're not like mowing down deer with an assault rifle.
Right.
You can go, like, people do like use guns as a hobby. I have a friend that he just buys guns and he just goes to a range and just shoots guns. And he just likes shooting guns. He likes collecting bullets, and just a hobby. Like, some people are just a hobby for them, but like,
right.
It's the issue of people being able to get a hold of them super easily. Yeah,
and that's the real. I mean, there's multiple issues with this. I mean, again, another thing that always comes up. I mean, you have the people that are the super pro Second Amendment people. That's all about keeping their guns and being able to have all this and that.
Right.
And there's the people that are on the side of, hey, why do they need these guns? What is the need to have these assault type rifles and things like that, or those type of deal. Like, obviously, like we're saying, the hunting rifles, going out and doing it for game and all that, whatever. That's fine. I think that's totally cool if you want to go do that. But it's a lot of other hot button issues. It's obviously the fact of the mental illness that's going on, which is a huge problem in this country and in the world in general. I think it's a problem with the school system and maybe how they can possibly fix issues with schooling and how things are handled actually in the schools instead of looking at them as a soft target.
Yeah, a lot of the shootings that are considered the mass shootings, the big ones. Like,
right.
I mean, obviously we had the Vegas one, which was not a school, but there's some, you know,
and
that
then the Pulse nightclub as well.
Yeah, and then they had the theater one, which was a pretty big deal.
The Dark Knight one.
Yeah. But the ones that I feel like very much can be preventable if we take the right measures would be the school shootings. I think a lot of it has to do with mental stability with the people that are doing the shootings. I think it has to do a lot with the actual school system itself, like
right.
our teachers and faculty making sure that these kids are really not getting bullied. Like you went to school, I went to school. Like I didn't get bullied that much when I was in high school. Maybe I was a little younger, maybe middle school, younger for being heavier, but like, you know, whatever. But it never really bothered me that much. But like, I think it goes along with cyberbullying as well, as we talked about in the last video.
Right.
But also, you know, I think the way that our culture is now, and especially with how people operate on the internet, it's okay to be shitty. It's okay to be shitty, like, because it's funny or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, or you're trying to impress someone, or you're trying to be cool because you're trying to, you know, bully somebody. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've never been somebody that's bullied someone. I've really never been someone who's like picking on somebody, you know, and I kind of just don't get it. Like, I kind of just don't get why people do that. And I think that's one of the big issues. I did see a statistic that said, I can't remember the percentage, but it was somewhere between 70 and 80% of the shooters that are in schools have a specific target that they're trying to go after.
Right.
And that they were bullied or picked on or something along those lines for a long period of time
right.
in school by the same people. And yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like that needs to be taken care of.
It's on for sure. I think that's a key issue. I think is that I also think it's an issue of not only at the school, but it's the pressure at home. I mean, it's the pressure of how your home life is, and obviously, I think a huge issue is the parenting. I think the parenting of these kids, and you know, they might just be totally mistreated by parents, or are totally misguided.
I think it's parenting is something we'll probably get into and talk about parenting, because I think that's a big issue with a lot of mental illnesses, which I feel like are caused. I don't want to blame parents specifically, but I want to say the neglect of not paying attention to your children, and
not understanding their issues, and not treating them,
right.
Because I think a lot of the problem is parenting be like, you're just a kid, deal with it type of deal, and that's not how it is, you know. These issues, and when it comes to mental issues and things like that, or conditions, if they get mistreated, it only festers. I personally can attest to that. I have anxiety issues. I've had them for years, and it only continued to grow. And I think that's a problem, is because these kids, that grow up and are misguided and misled, or whatever the case may be, but it's untreated. It's untreated issues. Now, and it begs the question: how are you going to get your hands on all of these kids to help put them in the proper path to not go down this road?
Right.
That to me seems like a mountain that is too hard to climb.
Yeah, and I agree. It is definitely hard to climb that mountain. However, I want to say this because I feel like it needs to be said, because I think there's a lot of people that think that the actual guns are the real issue, and I don't think that it's the guns that are the issue. I think it's the person. I think the people are the issue, and I think having the weapons. But it makes it easier. It makes it easier.
Correct. Exactly.
For shootings to happen.
And that's a lot of people. That's the main thing is, guns don't kill people. People kill people.
Right.
Guns make it easier. I'll tell you that right now. If they go in and start punching people to death, it's not going to be as easy.
There'd be more mass stabbings.
There'd be more mass butter knifings.
Yeah.
But there has to be, in my eyes, there has to be stronger gun laws. It just has to happen. I just feel like it's gone too long with keeping which is, I think, the biggest problem with me is the the old country way of doing things, and let's abide by rules that were made over 250 years ago.
Right.
I think that's ridiculous. In my opinion, I think we should rewrite the damn Constitution. I honestly do. I just think that in today's day and age, it is, if you resurrected all of those people that are around back then, brought them to current times, they'd be like, this ain't gonna work.
Right.
This does not work. You cannot do that. That would be like saying, we're gonna keep everything the way it was back in the 17 and 1800s. So if your leg hurts, we're gonna cut it off because there's no medication that's proper to use that.
You're right.
If you have an issue, if some other issue comes up or whatever, it's the most drastic measure. It's because the world and our country and everything in general has progressed, whether it be technology, whether it be with science or medicine or any of those type of deals. Things have progressed to the point to where we cannot sit and continue doing the things that was done hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
I think that's ridiculous.
And I agree. And it's funny because I was just talking to my boss about this today at my work, and we were talking about the Constitution, and we were talking about the right to bear arms, okay?
Right.
And the reason that this was in the Constitution to begin with was back then, the reason that it was okay for you to bear arms was so that somebody didn't try to steal your land or steal your capital. Basically, the beginning of capitalism, where you created your own business, built up your life, so someone couldn't just come in there and just take it. So you had protection. And I think that's the biggest thing that people talk about when it comes to guns is, I want to have my gun because I want to feel protected.
But I feel like that's a cop-out. I honestly do. I feel like people that are gun owners and things like that, it's a cop-out to say, well, it's for my damn protection. Like, to me, it just seems...
I don't think so. And I agree with the AR thing. Like, I totally agree with the AR thing. But, like, I don't think we need to have automatic weapons. I don't think they're necessary.
No.
I do think that you should have the right to carry a handgun.
I have no problem with that. What I'm saying is when these conversations come into place, they put it into, well, I can't protect my family or blah, 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 blah. I'm like...
Well, they're worried that if they outlaw guns like they did in Australia, that they won't get to have their handgun, or they won't get to have their rifle. They won't get to hunt, which is not true. I think that they should just outlaw the AR.
Yeah.
I think that any automatic weapon they should just outlaw them. The issue is, if they do that, then people are going to find ways to get these guns.
They will.
However,
it's going to be harder.
It's going to be harder, and it won't be so easy for a kid to get them.
True.
It won't be so easy for a kid to get them.
In this case that happened in Texas, this past Friday, was a case of he got it from his father.
Yeah.
It was not well protected, not well put into under lock and key.
Right.
And he was able to get possession of it. Now, I get that. I get that kids are going to be, these people are going to be able to have access to the guns, but putting those restrictions in place, you're not going to outlaw everything. I get it. I totally get it. Like, it is a part of it. Everybody, if they have the right to do that, there should be, to me, just like almost like driving a car. There should be, we go through so much to be able to just drive a damn vehicle. Mm-hmm. There should be those same, those same walls that you put up in order to possess firearms.
Here in Missouri now, you don't have to have a concealed carry to carry a handgun now.
That's crazy to me.
I don't think so.
I feel like there needs to be something in place for something.
A concealed carry like a handgun.
Right. I mean, the bullet could still kill somebody that's in that gun, regardless of it.
That's true.
I mean,
that's
still.
True.
But I just feel like there should be things that are in place more to make it harder. Because, I mean, I think there was a study that I was reading before the video or whatever. I think it said that over 310 million people have access in America to firearms. The second most, I think, was India with 46 million. They're talking 250 million more people in this country alone have access or have already possession of firearms. And I think it just blows my mind. To me, the reasoning for having it doesn't outweigh the lives and casualties that are being taken place, because you can have, like I said, you can have it. That's cool, but there needs to be further and stricter policies to be having and possessing these guns. I feel like there should just be a bigger wall placed there for people to be able to possess it. It shouldn't be just like going to the store and buying, some candy. Like, and that's almost what it feels like.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And I think that's one of the the bigger issues with this is it's so accessible. Yep. It's so accessible to get a weapon.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't know where to, I personally don't know where to get an AR or anything like that. I'm not into guns. I've never been into hunting. Over the last couple years, I've never thought about having a gun or getting a gun.
No.
But I would say over the last 6 months, I've been thinking about getting a handgun and just having one. Just to have it in my vehicle or have it in my house.
The country that we live in. And I mean, honestly...
You have to... Like, I feel like the reason
not to mention our city, if we ever go downtown, Jesus, it's like a war zone sometimes.
Right. And I feel like you really might have to protect yourself. And I think there's a chance that there's going to be a lot of bigger issues in the future where we're going to have to be able to protect ourselves.
And that, it just feels like the more and more it goes, you know, I don't even want to get into political talks, but the talks of putting guns in the hands of teachers and stuff and giving them access to be able to stop it. No, that's ridiculous to me. I just think that
to protect themselves from a shooter?
Not to mention,
maybe?
Okay, you have to, now those teachers are going to be required to take, you know, gun classes to be able to even realize how to shoot them. You got some 80-year-old, you know, Miss Bessie or whatever having to, you know, pop a Glock into somebody. Like, that's crazy to me. Yeah. Not to mention, you're throwing more guns into a school, and if there's more school shootings, then you give the opportunity to have more guns in the school. If every single classroom, now you're talking if there's 300-something classrooms, now you got 300 guns in the school already when you already got somebody going in there or something like that?
I think it should be...
I think there should be...
It should be optional. It should be a thing where you tell them, okay...
Would you honestly,
yeah.
Would you... I mean, that makes it to the case, what if a kid just cases out the classroom? And what if the kid's just thinking, I don't even have a gun at my house.
Yeah.
I got a gun in my classroom. You know what I mean? The teacher's got it locked up. Screw a lock. I go jack open the thing. How would they keep it locked up? And then if that's the case, if they need to use it, is it going to be accessed easily? Is it going to be quickly? Right. You know what I mean? Like, so now you don't even have to have this kid that has, you know, his dad that owns guns. Now you can have a kid that doesn't even have guns anywhere around him, but he's like, I don't need guns. I'll just go to school, grab it from my teacher's desk, and I'm ready to go. You know what I mean?
No. That literally was what I was going to say, because that would be the only issue that I have with that is it would be more accessible even there.
That's what I'm saying. Then it's turning into a war zone. Then it's like we're just throwing guns on top of guns to fix issues on, like, it's just.
But I think that teachers should have the option if they want to have a handgun.
That's scary. I don't want my kids going to that school, man.
I think that I don't think that it should be visible. I don't think they should have it on them, and I don't think that they should say or let any students.
But you know they're going to know. You know they're going to know.
How are you going to know? How are you going to know? Because
another big issue when it comes to this is the media. Because of the media. Well, here's the thing, you're going to hear about this. If you're like, oh, this school in blah, 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 Florida is going to start having their teachers carry guns. You know that's going to get out in the media.
I'm not saying that we should arm all of our teachers with guns, and I don't think we should, and I don't think we should have to. But I feel like teachers, whichever they would like, should have the option to have a gun and keep it secret and not tell anybody. Because unless someone comes in and tries to shoot up the school, no one's going to know they have a gun. And no one...
I feel like they would. I feel like they...
How?
Because... Do you honestly think that their parents of these kids are going to send their kids to this class and the parents are unknowingly going to know that their teacher has a gun in their desk?
No.
There's no way that the parents won't know, and there's no way that the kids wouldn't end up finding out.
Well, I'm saying that
the media wouldn't get it.
They could say, hey, at the school, there are teachers that have a weapon. They don't have to say who.
It's like Fortnite. They might have a chest you can go open, and it might give you a blue AR. You never know.
Well, here's the thing, okay? I don't think you think it's as serious. I don't think you think it's as serious as I think it is to protect yourself. I don't think that's not true at all. I mean, I think there's been a lot of situations where
I have two young sisters that just started school.
Right.
I am going to be having children in the next few years. My wife, which is the most important thing to me. I value the protection. I totally get that. I mean, we've had people just in this neighborhood that have been robbed at gunpoint in this neighborhood. So I mean, I see that. I get where that's coming from. Then that's why I'm not saying I'm not saying that you can't have the opportunity to protect yourself, because that is important. My wife has said that before. My wife wants to have a gun, and that's totally cool if she wants to do that. If she wants to keep that, it'll be under ridiculously safe circumstances, because you've seen where kids, like 3-year-old kids, have gotten controls and killed themselves, which is crazy and terrible. But to me, going back to the school situation, would it not be better just to up the security of the actual school with more maybe police guidance or security guidance even to get in the school, whether it be metal detectors or some sort of situation like that? I feel like that is a safer measure.
It is a safer measure. Than it is
actually having, like I said, an 80-year-old art teacher having a freaking Glock.
Here's an issue that a lot of people have, and this is the reason I bring up the protection and being able to have the option to carry a handgun. I mean, because there is a possibility, and people don't think it'll happen, but there is seriously a possibility that it could happen, that we could have martial law, that the government could take over and tell us what to do, and we have no way to defend ourselves. That, to me, that I don't think is a good idea.
But the thing is it's not leaning towards that way. It's not leaning towards the way of taking away everybody's guns, because obviously that's not what Trump wants. That's obviously not what this.
Well, there's such an outrage about it from people that, I think it's a little outrageous on both sides. I feel like both sides feel like the right feels like, you're not going to take my guns away, you can't have them, and the left is like, no guns nowhere, peace, love, and positivity. And it's like, no, neither one of you guys can understand that, like, there are people that are crazy. Lefties, you're not going to understand that you can stand around and make hearts and peace signs, and people are still going to shoot you in the face. And the right people are like, I got to have my guns to protect people or myself and everyone around me, just in case, and blah blah blah. And they're like, everyone's got to have a gun. Not everyone has to have a gun, and you don't need it to protect everyone. Like, there's are situations where you're not going to need it, and I get it, but like, it's a touchy subject, and it's kind of hard to figure out that happy medium, because you're going to have those crazy people, those people who are mentally ill, that are suicidal, the school shooters, the ones that are the bullies, and then you're going to have the people who, that are very good with their guns. They're very good at keeping them hidden. They're very good at making sure everything's taken care of and locked away. And it's a battle. It's clashing heads. It's clashing heads.
That's what it always comes down
to. And
you
have to come to that. You have to come to that.
It's
hard.
That's exactly what it is, because it's exactly the problem that we run into. It's because every time we hear about these shootings, you hear about you hear about what's going on with it. You hear about the circumstances, all of the info and all the information. Then it automatically goes to right versus left. That's automatically what it goes to. It automatically just goes straight to politics.
It does.
And the true answer is in between everything.
It is.
And we never can find it. It's like two batteries butting heads, and you can never put the batteries together.
Yeah.
And once you put the batteries together, we're at peace.
Well, and that's the thing. I feel like I'm in the middle of it, because
I'm right there with you.
I feel like I'm in the middle of it, because I feel like we can't get rid of guns like Australia, but we shouldn't have ARs and automatic weapons anywhere. Like, there's no reason to have them anywhere.
Right.
And
I already know the people out there are going to be saying, this guy didn't even have an assault rifle, he had a shotgun or whatever. But it's the fact that most of these situations, and I don't have the statistics about it, but it involves weapons that people should just not have their hands on. Right. They just shouldn't have their hands on.
So do you think I'll ask you this question. Do you think, because we don't have any statistics in our hands, but do you think that it's so much easier in America to get a gun than it is anywhere else?
I don't have statistics, but I would say yes, just by the amount of guns that we have in this country.
Yeah.
And because I have seen that statistic, and I have seen the amount that we have in this country, and I just feel like I just feel like America and this country, it like I was talking earlier, it feels like we're in our own world. Like, it just feels like America is its own world. Like, it's just in its own bubble. And everybody on the outside is looking in and just being like, what is wrong with that place? And it sucks that we're right in the middle of it. We're literally right in the middle of this damn thing. And you have people that think clearly.
It's hard. It's a melting pot here.
It is. It is. And that's what makes this country great.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's what makes it decline at sometimes. And it's what makes it to get into points where we're just at the absolute bottom.
Right. When
it comes to using just common sense, man. Just just use some damn common sense. Like, these people should not have access to these weapons that are just outlandish for people to have possession of. And yes, I totally get the fact that you cannot completely take it away from everybody, but there is an abundance. There's abundance of firearms in this country that people are just getting their hands on, whether it be legally or illegally, because it is a lot of the cases it happens illegally. I mean, it's just a problem that we have to sit here, and we could probably sit here almost on a weekly basis and talk about another one and another one. What was that stat you said? There's like 22.
Oh, yeah. I saw from CNN, since the beginning of 2018, there has been one shooting, at least an attempt or a mass shooting every week since the beginning of 2018. And you know what? And then the other statistic I saw was, I don't know the exact statistic fully, but it's something like since 2000, no other country has had double-digit mass shootings except for America, who's had over 200. That is insane. That is insane. And you know what I think? And I'm going to say this because I really want to stick to the point of, I don't think it's the actual guns that are the issue. I think it's the people. I think people are just mentally ill. Yeah. I really think that people need to, and our parenting is bad.
Yeah.
The parenting is bad right now, and it's been bad for the last 50 years.
So many different things. It's the availability. It's the availability, because I do agree that, obviously, it is an issue with the person, because a level-headed person is not going to take a gun and go kill a bunch of people. That is fact. But like I said, it is the Everest of mountains to climb to get over the fact that you're not going to be able to reach all these kids.
Yeah.
And to be able to place the restrictions and put walls in front of having these firearms and having the opportunity to gain access to them. If you make it harder, if you put the restrictions in place, or you put the laws in place to be able, the things you have to go through, the background checks, this and that to go through, it's going to make it more difficult. And I just think there should be some sort. There has to be something that's done. I just feel like I'm sick and tired of watching these and they go into some debate over gun control or whatever, and you hear like, oh, this could end up happening, and then it's just back to normal the next day.
Yeah.
And nothing ever gets done.
Yeah.
And it's time for me, and I believe one of the governors of the U.S. who said this most. I am sick and tired, which we'll get into religious talk. Trust me, we'll get there eventually. But I am sick and tired of people saying, "Oh, I send my thoughts and prayers. I send my thoughts and prayers." How about just people do their damn job, and we get things in place that is going to fix this damn country?
Right.
Because thoughts and prayers aren't doing shit, and nothing's happening because it continues to happen. Either God's not real, or God doesn't give a shit about you, if that's the case, if these thoughts and prayers are going, because they're going right down the damn toilet, in my opinion. Things need to get done, action needs to be taken, and change has to happen to alter this country and put it on a path where we don't have to deal with this, and we don't have to see it on a day-to-day basis. I don't have to worry about my sisters or my future children going to school and things like that, where, whether or not you have the protection at home, you're going to be at work. You're not going to be able to protect them when they're at school. So things have to be in place, whether it be with the schooling, whether it be with, politics and laws that are put in place, whether it be with just talking to your kids, man. Just get in there, and if they have an issue, treat it. If they have something wrong with it, even if it's minor, deal with it. Because it should not be a problem where you continue to see these kids and these people end up acting out this way. It's just it's crazy to me.
Yeah. So we agreed on the reasons that it's an issue. Right. So accessibility, right? Mental illnesses, parenting,
school structure,
school structuring,
media. I think media huge.
The last one I'm going to mention, because I know you're a big gamer, video games. You think video games are an issue with guns? Or just shootings in general? I
feel like you hear about it. You hear about
it just seems
a lot
like
of stuff.
Cool thing because everyone's playing Fortnite.
True, but I feel like there's it's that I think when it comes to video games, it goes to mental illness, because only somebody mentally ill will connect the two of, I'm going to do this in real life.
Oh yeah, dude, I completely agree. I don't play Fortnite and think, now I can just go do this to
exactly.
somebody. Yeah.
And I've been playing video games since I was super young, and it's just one of those things. It's all in your mind. It is an influence. It is true. But I mean, that goes with anything. It goes with TV. You ever watch a movie where somebody gets shot?
For sure.
You ever watch a TV show where somebody gets shot? I mean, you're gonna see it because it's just a part of the. It's a part of the world. So I mean, it's out there for sure.
So finally, the last thing I want to say, because I think that everyone talks about this issue and no one ever talks about what a solution would be.
Right.
Do you think that this should be put to a nation vote? Do you think that as a nation we should go to the voting booth, have an actual voting where it's everyone in the country voting on this to outlaw guns or to keep them? Do you think that would actually help the situation? Because then you get the overwhelming popular vote. I think that divides the country more, honestly.
It does. And that's the thing is, even with all these discussions, all it's doing, it's not bringing anybody together. It's just further pushing them apart.
Right.
And that's with any political discussion. That's why I hate talking about politics, because it just separates people. Mm-hmm. It doesn't unite us as a nation. That's why I think that the structure of this country just needs to be turned on its head. Yeah. I honestly think that the old way of doing things is old, is exactly what it is. I think that it might have worked back then. That's what they might have thought back 200 something years ago. I think that the structure
doesn't work.
The structure just sickens me, because it's not only the structure of it, but then it's people having their own agendas that are in Washington and in the government, and they find their own ways to politic themselves into situations to further themselves, or with money, or whatever the case may be. Again, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about when it comes to politics, but I do know the fact that this old school way of thinking, and whether it comes to Constitution or how electing officials, or having some freaking guy live in some creepy White House in some place, like it's so old, and it needs to be refined. This country is completely and drastically different than it was hundreds of years ago. Even 20 years ago. Yeah. It's completely and drastically different than it is, and there needs to be just a refinement in general, whether it comes to government or our world as a whole, to just come together and be like, we need to change something, and it needs to be changed, and stop going off of, well, this is how it's done, so we have to do it this way. I get that's never going to change in our lifetime. That nothing like that will happen, but I think if you just got people in there that were level-headed and took the angle of whatever way you're trying to come at it, if you took that away from it and you just tried to say, hey, let's make this country what we supposedly say it is, which is the best, and not make it look like it's just completely declining. And whatever way that it is, and where everybody's against everybody else.
Yeah. My biggest issue, I think, I'll end on this, is,
Do you think, because I didn't ask you this, do you think there should be a restructuring of how it was back then, of how the Constitution is, or how this or that is, of how it was made then, and at the time that's what they thought was right, but at this time it's a completely different world that we live in.
Right. So here's the issue with that. Yes, I do think that we do need a restructuring of how things are, especially with the Constitution, but who's going to be elected to make these decisions? Are we going to have to vote on people, and then you don't even know if your vote counts? Like, who's going to be elected? Like, who are the people going to be to make these decisions? That's true.
I'm just saying, as a whole, it needs to be different than how it was, because this nation and this world is drastically different than how it was 250 years ago. It just goes back to the thing, if we continue to do things how it was 250 years ago, this world would look messed up even more than it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, you got a toothache? We'll rip them all out. That'll help.
Every tooth
goes out of your mouth, instead of having the way that you continue to evolve, whether it be with society, or whether it be with medicine or science or sports or anything. You learn from mistakes. Right. You learn from the world. You learn, you gain knowledge over these years, and you put it to use. Yeah. And our government is still
the best decision?
250 years ago.
What's the best decision? Yeah.
Exactly.
What's the best
route to take to fix an issue?
The worst mistake.
With the knowledge that we have gained.
Least amount
Instead of using the knowledge that we've gained in that field of the world, we're continued to stay sludged in that idea and that mindset. Yeah. And that's ridiculous when it comes to our country. Yeah. And that's the main thing.
I will say, because I didn't get to it, I think the biggest issue that needs to be handled more than anything is mental health. I think mental illnesses of people.
Again, because I said it's a tough mountain to climb. How are you going to get to that? Is it just better counseling at school? Is it because the problem
I think it has to
the
do
problem
with
lies with me is
better counseling, but
what
also,
if these kids don't even want to talk about it?
Well,
they fester and fester and fester. I mean, is it just for a parent to dissect their children and
it's hard to force somebody to do that, but
right.
I think
because it was hard for me. It was hard for me to analyze myself and say I have problems.
Right.
Instead of just saying, well, this is probably normal
right.
or whatever. But then you kind of realize like, okay, you're getting out in the world and you're experiencing a thing. You're like, what is going on?
I want to say, I think the parenting is a big issue, but I want parents to be able to understand if there's, try to key in and see if there's something wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's, instead of not paying attention and neglecting their children, I think they need to pay attention to their children.
Absolutely.
I think that's
a response. The number one responsibility of a parent is to
make sure your kid is okay. Like things are okay. And if you see that they're not okay, you need to guide them to where they need to be, and you need to. And I really think that people need to see therapists. I really think the idea of true speech, being able to talk to somebody, having someone tell you that, or help you figure out what's wrong, then talk to you and help you heal in your heart and in your head, make you understand why I act like this, what is wrong, how do I need to fix this, and it's hard because young people don't want to do that.
And I totally agree. I absolutely agree the fact that mental illness is something that needs to be keened on, but it's like grasping at something that you can't even reach, because to me it has to come from within. It has to come from the person that has an issue to say, hey, mom or dad, or hey, the teacher or the counselor or something. These kids, if they bottle it in and then one person says something and they snap off, they grab their dad's shotgun, 10 people are dead.
Yeah.
How do you say, well, there's no, and that's what you always hear about, well, there was no red flags. You want to know why there's no red flags? Is because there's no way to treat that if they don't let it be known.
Well, a lot of it goes to, I feel like they don't think they have anybody to talk to. They can't talk to about what's bothering them.
So we have to train train ourselves as humans to get it out there, to say, if you have an issue, then bring it to them. But
I think it's parenting. I really think it's parenting too.
But is it just the fact that this parent and this parent had this kid, and that person had issues, and this person had issues, and they were just born with issues?
Yeah.
And it wasn't the fact of parenting; they were just born with problems. And people are just straight born with problems.
But I think a lot.
And there's and to me, that's why I think that I can grasp the idea of gun laws. I can grasp the idea of I'm going to make it harder for you to obtain this. Right. But I cannot grasp the idea of you have an issue, but you're not going to tell me about it. It kind of seems like you have a problem, but then one day we find out you murdered everybody. Well, and how do you grasp at that? You know what I mean?
Well, I get what you're saying, but here's the issue with what it is because the issue of saying that to outlawing guns instead of being able to help with mental illness, the issue with that is it's like neutering the situation instead of fixing the situation. Right. Because it's not the actual guns that are the issue. But it's the people.
I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is it's to me, is it not easier to think I could put restriction on guns, or I could put this or that, than it is to say I'm going to help endless amounts of people with their mental issues, and everybody's going to be straight and narrowed, and everybody's going to be like, what is in place besides just saying there needs to be better parents? Because I'll tell you right now, that's never going to change. Better parenting is not going to change because people are just they are who they are. Yeah. And if people have kids and they had issues with their parents, or they had issues with their family or whatever, that's going to stem off of those kids. And you can't have somebody there being like, I'm Mr. Fix America. Your kid has an issue. Let me bring him into fixamerica.com. Or, you know what I mean? Or like an institution.
The parents have to realize that they and it's not just the kids, it's the parents as well that need to be like, okay, maybe I messed up my kid. Maybe I messed up my kid because...
How many people are going to say that, though? I mean, how many people are going to admit to being shitty parents? That's what I'm saying. There will be some out there.
And the thing is, it's hard because... But they have to understand that. They have to go and they have to talk to somebody who specializes in those things. And they don't... It's hard because people don't want to force themselves to understand those things. Absolutely. Because it makes them feel shitty. But then when you understand, you're like, man... Maybe I really did neglect my kid. Maybe he's seen some stuff he shouldn't have seen when he was a kid. And then now his life is a little different. But there is a lot of chemical. There is a lot of scientific. There is a lot of, genetics mixing to make issues in depression and anxiety. But a lot of mental illness that I feel like can be taken care of could be taken care of from therapy or even talking to somebody and just taking care of yourself in general. Eating the right stuff.
That's just what I was about to say.
Exercising and like doing the things that people...
That's what I was just about to say. So better parenting should come into don't take your kids to McDonald's. Don't take your kids to McDonald's.
That would be a good start.
Don't let them look at porn when they're 5 years old. Like it just like it to me, you can't have somebody there 24/7 seeing this kid. Well, he's heading down a bad path. Let's just pull him out of his life so he doesn't murder 10 people in the next 15 years or whatever. And we're just going to solve this issue now, and we'll just go ahead and sweep it up. It just seems so hard to me. That's why I said it just seems like a mountain you can't climb to say, well, we're just going to have to strengthen up our problems with mental illness. No shit. We need to strengthen up our problems with people not eating fatty foods and drinking soda and all this crap, doing drugs. Like that, it's just part of what I'm saying at the beginning is just part of an epidemic that I feel like is just a mountain we can't climb. We can't get over the idea of what we should do with guns. We can't find the correct idea of how to deal with these kids. And it's just right in the middle of, we're just in a time frame where this is a huge problem for this country.
And I think the reason
there almost just isn't even an answer because it's so hard to find.
Well, we live in, like I said, we live in the freest country in the world.
Right.
So it's easy and accessible to have guns. It's easy for you to just eat McDonald's 5 times a day.
Exactly.
It's easy
when you shouldn't do all those things, but you just do because it's easy.
Because it's easy and it's there and it's free and you can do. It's a free country and you can do whatever you want here.
Right.
And that's why the mass shootings are in the 200s and everywhere else it's not. Maybe we need more restrictions on things, like you said.
Right.
Maybe we do.
Because to me, it just seems, because I totally agree. It is a problem because, like I said, I am dealing with it firsthand. I have problems that I have dealt with myself, and I've self-recognized that. But that's not going to happen with everybody. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's going to go undealt with. It's going to fester. It's going to boil up, and it's going to come to a point to where something drastic is going to happen. Now, obviously, we hope that it's not going to be a mass casualty type situation, but it could just be where the kid falls out with their parents or they disengage from their family or whatever the case is. It's just to me, it just all goes to the fact that this country's messed up, man, and it's hard to pinpoint. This is what we need to do to fix this problem. Well, if you're overweight, if you're doing this, stop eating what you're eating, stop drinking bad things, start going to the gym. That fixes your problem. Kids are dying in schools. People are dying in these situations. Do that. You can't point. There's not a pinpoint on that. You know what I mean? It's hard to pinpoint that issue. It's for sure hard.
And I think we need to do. I think we need
to do a better job of everything that we talked about.
Yeah, and I think we need to go into detail and really research these shootings and figure out the multivariate equation of all these things that are going to help us specifically to fix this issue.
Right.
And I pretty much so I would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean it's just it's disappointing, it's unfortunate, it's absolutely drastic and terrible to hear about these things, but this is what it comes to, man. This is the kind of discussions that it goes to, and until some sort of change happens. Yeah. I mean, it's a change regardless of something, whether it's the structure of how we view things and how things were and back in the past and how we should do it now, or whether it's issues with mental health or whether it's issues with guns or whatever the case is. I don't see the route that it's going, anything changing. I just feel like it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
And the more divided we are as a country is going to factor into that as well. Yeah. It's going to continue that way, and that's just unfortunate. And it's unfortunate to see living in this country and wanting to be better, wanting it to be better, because it's just sad. Because I just feel like everybody on the outside looking in is just being like, "What is wrong with that place?" Man, that's just what it feels like. We're right stuck in the middle of it, unfortunately. Next one, we went a little deep onto that one, which I kind of figured like we would. Next one is a little more lighthearted, for sure.
Silly.
I'm going to let Jarvis go ahead and kick this one off since he kind of introduced it to me, seeing how I got the text, and I was like, what the hell are you talking about? So we'll let him kick this off.
Okay, so every once in a while, there's these little experiments that people do, and they go viral.
Because America,
right? And so the whole thing with the dress where it was
either gold or blue.
It's either gold.
I don't remember
gold and white or blue and
I don't
black.
remember what I saw. I might put it up here. All I see is green.
Yeah. I've always only seen with that white and gold. And I've talked to people that said they've seen blue and blue and black.
I can't remember. It was a couple years ago, wasn't it?
It was a couple years ago.
I can't remember.
So every couple of years or every once in a while, they have something where people are decisive on, and it kind of blows your mind because it's a kind of a study. So if I remember correctly, it was a college professor did this little experiment where he did this whole thing with Laurel and Yanny. And if you've been on the internet over the last week or so, I'm sure you've heard about this thing. And some people hear Laurel, some people hear Yanny, but it says one word. It's only one word, and it only says one word. But some people hear it differently.
And they say that it is the sound waves at which both words are produced. They have the same. I saw some sort of research done where it showed like the frames at which they go up, and it seemed very familiar to other things or whatever. And they say that it's kind of similar, but you could like go one way with it, or your brain could go one. I don't know, but that's weird.
Yeah. So we'll listen to it here.
Everybody listen together.
I'll put it up in the mic. I'm sure everyone is, at least on the internet, if you haven't heard about this, you've probably done it. If not, but I know what I've heard every time I've heard it.
Same here.
And you know what you've heard every time. So we're gonna do a little test. If you see this video, comment, tell us what you hear. If you don't hear the same thing as us, you're wrong. I'm just kidding. So let's run this back here and let's see what people hear, because I know what I hear.
I hate this country.
I do too.
It's Laurel every time, bro.
It is.
It's every time.
Every time I hear Laurel.
Everybody comment out there. Whoever's watching this video, comment and tell us what you've heard. Or if you've heard other videos and see this. Here's my thing on it. I think I've busted it.
Is it a troll?
This shit's a work, bro.
Is it a work?
It's propaganda. It's straight propaganda,
it's a troll.
bro.
Okay, so
this is all a work. Here's what you're thinking.
This is a big troll.
You are hearing, and here you can't go to one unanimous, is it Laurel or Yanny site where it first started at. You hear multiple people uploading different videos from different pages or different news sites or whatever. What if whoever's doing it is just having one word play over the other word? Why they choose Laurel and Yanny as the two words, which I don't even know. Is it a name? Is Yanny? What the hell is Yanny?
Okay, so
is it just a pronunciation of verbiage?
I guess, but I've also seen that the frequency in which the word is said.
Right, that's what I was saying.
So Laurel, it's said in a high frequency, and people who hear Yanny, or they hear it as Yanny, it's like slowed down or in a slower frequency. So the word Laurel, when it's slowed down, it sounds like the word Yanny.
So it's supposed to be like to one's perception how their mind perceives the sound waves.
The frequency.
The frequency.
What you hear things at.
Okay. I think it's total BS and a work.
It could be totally.
It could totally be a work.
And it just depends on how people hear things. Maybe people.
No, I totally do think that there are the what am I trying to think of? Like the mind, like where you look at something and you perceive a different image or something like that, and you can see something else and somebody else sees, like a Rorschach test thing or whatever type of deal or whatever, where you kind of see a different image or something like that. But in today's day and age, dude, it's trolling, bro. It's feel like it's straight trolling.
We're getting trolled.
We're getting trolled.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a chance that it's just a big troll, but I mean, apparently it's from a college professor, and he was doing a study on the frequency in which how people hear things, and people who, I guess,
maybe enrollment in that class is low this semester.
I have no idea, but the people who hear Laurel, I guess, hear things at a higher frequency or a higher pitch.
And the people that hear Yanny are dead.
Or dead.
Because they're not alive.
Because they're wrong. Because you're wrong.
Because you're wrong, bro. It's Laurel every time.
It's Laurel
Unless
every time.
you see the video where they make it Yanny because they edited it that way.
So you don't legit think there's any frequency. You think it's
I just want to say it's a work just because it's funny. I don't know. It could be something to where it's just the sound waves or the what am I keep wanting to say the frequency.
Yeah.
Frequency. It's a good movie too. Where the frequency or whatever is like perceived differently with your mind. Because like I said, I do think that somebody could look at those illusion type things or whatever and see something different than somebody else does, the Rorschach test or whatever, and perceives it differently with an eyes. But I think that's just, I think if it is a legit thing, it's just that it explains that everybody's different and everybody perceives things differently. Everybody has their own, their own way to look at how the situation is or how something like that is or how their brain perceives it differently because everybody's brain is different than everybody else's brain.
What if it's people? Some people don't hear things as fast. Maybe they don't.
So the Yannies are the tards? Is that what we're saying?
No, I mean just like
perceiving it faster with a frequency
it could also be hearing. It could be people's hearing because we both wear glasses. Without glasses, I can't see very well.
Same.
So maybe it has to do with with people's hearing. Maybe the frequency of the word doesn't connect to their ear.
Yeah, I mean, it could be something like that. You'd have to go into dissection of brain 101 or something to explain
and if
the details
if it has been busted, I haven't looked up any busted videos on it. So it definitely could. This whole thing could be busted, and we're sitting here jaw jacking about
nothing
or whatever.
Which even if it's real or fake, it's kind of nothing at the same time because it's just a weird. Only in America, man. Just something like this would just catch on, but it's just whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just silly to me, man. It's just so silly. But I mean, it
is silly.
If it's legit, then it's kind of cool because it makes you take a step back and be like, wow, that's kind of interesting. That's kind of unique.
Yeah, and even if it's a real thing and it's not a troll, then it isn't. It is interesting.
I hope it's real. And I hope people do definitely hear different things because I think that's kind of neat. I think it's kind of cool.
I think it's cool too. So I mean, let us know what you guys think about that.
Give us your input on what you guys hear. It's Laurel. We're not gonna lie. We know what it is.
It's Laurel. Sorry.
Laurel. Every time. That's what it is. Every time. That's what it is. Propaganda.
If it's not, maybe we're just not a part of the unique.
We're not part of the Yanny enigmas.
Yeah.
The enigmas.
Yeah.
Do you see that they have something on? Where you can on your iPhones where you could send your Bitmoji and it'll say the word Yanny or it'll say Laurel above it. They added it as like an upload.
What?
I swear to God, it's in my phone. I saw it. I'm like, what's funny is I saw it before you told me about it, and I was like, what in the shit is that? What does that even mean? And I thought it was like I don't even know. But then you told me about it. I'm like, seriously, they put that into where you can text your Bitmoji that says it above it and says what you heard or whatever. But I don't know. Like I said, I hope it's real because I think it'd be kind of neat if people do perceive and hear it differently in the frequency. And I don't know why I keep doing this. Like I'm like, oh,
it's like lined up perfectly.
Lined up right in the middle of the vertices. I don't know. So I think
what the hell is the vertices?
Nothing, bro. It's propaganda.
Just a made-up propaganda. It's all propaganda.
It's all propaganda.
It's all BS.
Laurel Yanny propaganda. That's all it is.
It's all just a thing to distract us from mass shootings.
Hey, that's true. So we're gonna be kicking off one that I know my colleague here. When we talked about this show, man, we were like, man, what are the type of things we're going to talk about? We could talk about some really deep issue things. We could talk about some funny stuff. We could talk about, sports or music or movies or blah, 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 blah. All this kind of stuff. And this was a key issue for Mr. Jarvis. And I'm excited. I'm excited to go down this rabbit hole with you guys. Should be fun.
It's a rabbit hole.
So what is the third and final topic of today's Dead Pulse Theory?
Okay, so I think it's going to be kind of feminism versus modern feminism, because here's the thing, okay? Anybody who
explain definitions. So what is how original feminism is, and what is modern feminism in your honest MIO opinion? Okay, so
original feminism was the idea of equality for men and women, and that's what it's been for several years. That's what everyone agreed on. That's great. And then they did all these marches all these years ago, and then it got to the point where we're at now, where women are fairly treated just the same as men. People would still say that there is a pay gap between men and women, which there is, but there's reasons why, and I'll get to that. But it's going from that to where now women have pretty much 99.9% of every right that a man has. Almost everything that a man has. And now what is there for them to do?
So there's not 100%? There is stuff that is...
Well, I mean, stuff like the pay gap. It is a thing. People consider it a thing. Or they talk about women being the headers of major companies and stuff like that, to where why is there not more women running major companies? Why is it all only men?
Right.
And the reason that is so is because, ready for this?
Let's hear it.
Women don't want to. They don't want to run companies. They're more sensible. They're more agreeable. They'd rather, and I'm not saying all.
Is it they realize that they might be smarter in the fact that it's too much of a responsibility, that it might cause issues with them in their life?
That partially is an issue, but also
family or whatever.
Family, but a lot of it has to do with just wanting to be a mom or be at home or stay at home or not work as much. And
nothing wrong with that.
And that is a statistic that is proven. It has been proven for years that men and women are just different.
Yeah.
And men would rather.
That's because they should be.
Yeah, they should be, and they should be. And the thing is,
yin and the yang.
Yeah, there are more men that are willing to work 60, 70 hours a week consciously at a really high-end business job to do things that women don't want to do. And that's the issue. The issue is in Scandinavia, where they have, and this, I'm dropping some Jordan Peterson knowledge on you because I've listened to this guy a lot, and
it's the first time. I'm surprised it took us 2 episodes to get to Jordan Peterson talk.
And I like this guy a lot, and for a lot of reasons, but a lot of stuff he says is very true. And
it makes me feel like an absolute tard when I listen to him because I'm just like
over your head. Yeah, it's hard because you have to listen to some of his stuff more.
Very
than
intellectual.
Yeah,
he has been on the Joe Rogan podcast, which I'm all about. That's probably really loud. All about Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah, so he said in Scandinavia that the country that's gone the furthest with equality for men and women. That
they have less mass shootings, don't they?
I don't know. I have nothing. Shit. Don't know anything about.
That's where we were going.
I have no idea about mass shootings.
That's where I was
going. The furthest any country has ever gone for complete and 100% equality for everything. That means equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome. Equality of outcome would mean a man can do the same job as a woman, but they don't have to work as hard or do the same things, but get paid as more than a man. So, because they physically can't do those certain things, but they have the opportunity to do that job, but they still are going to get paid more.
This is legitimate?
Not paid more, but paid the same.
No, this is legitimately happening in that country?
I don't know if that specifically is happening.
Oh.
But I know.
So you're saying that like a guy can go out and work a really hard labor job, but the woman could work some sort of other job that might not be as laboring or might not be as intense, and they'll get the same amount of pay.
No, she could work the same job. The chances. No, what I'm saying is equality of opportunity is saying you should be allowed.
Oh, okay.
To work.
So you're just explaining. I thought you said.
Yeah. No. I'll get to Scandinavia. Okay. You should be allowed to work the same job as any man, but if you don't perform the same, regardless of actual work or anything like that, you don't get paid the same.
Right.
You get paid for the work that you do.
Right.
You don't get paid the same and have to do less work. I think that's what part of the issue is. And in Scandinavia, they've gone the furthest with equality, allowing men and women to do the same things. And if you leave men and women alone to their own accord, let them do what they want to do, even with these rights and these laws to let men and women, or women to do things that men do, they will still choose the other thing. In Scandinavia, it's 20-1 engineers that are men and to women, and 20-1 physicians to women. So it's to women to men. So there's 20 more physicians that are women and 20 more engineers that are men, and that's allowing them to make their own decision. They make their own decision to do what they want to do, and women still choose the other job. Like it's like they want to incorporate women into tech, into like Google or YouTube or working at these places. Right. And it's just men and women are different. Women kind of don't want to do tech. I'm not saying all. I'm just saying there are more men that want to do tech stuff than there are women, and that's by choice. That's they're saying women should be more incorporated into these jobs. They don't want to work these jobs. The majority of them
when given the option.
Right. And I'm totally okay with giving them the option.
Right.
But the idea of original feminism, which is equality for men and women, great. Totally all cool with that. Modern feminism is cancer. It's literal cancer. It's cancer mostly to women. Mostly to women, because modern what feminism used to mean to what it is now is it's not about equality for men and women, because that is pretty much a thing. That is there's not a lot
Isn't
of things.
that just equality for humans?
Yeah, and I get it. Like,
everyone should be equal. Well, no shit.
And the reason that the issues of quality has been the issue is because, for so long, is because if you put women and men, like I said, to their own accord, they will make different decisions. And they will work different jobs. Right. And they will make the choices on their own without being told what to do. So, because that is a thing, and it's been proven, the issue with modern feminism now is take down the patriarchy. Men are on the top of everything. Men are on the top of everything, and they run everything, and that's whatever, you know. It's not about equality anymore for modern feminism. It's about authority. It's about being in power. It's about
because they feel like the other gender has been in the power, and now they feel like they want to be able to take over in that position because they feel like they've been told what to do, or they've been dictated how they should live. Right.
So instead of that, it's more like they want it to be a matriarchy, which is women on top of everything.
Right.
It's not about equality of the sexes anymore. It's about
earning that position to get to that
It's
spot.
about having women be at the top of everything. They would prefer it to be women at the top of everything instead of men at the top of everything.
I'm all right with my woman on top.
hey, zinger.
Continue.
So, and that's the thing, you know, and that's the thing to me is that's what people don't consider is it's not about equality anymore. Modern feminism is not about equality. It is about authority and power.
Right.
It's about wanting to have authority and power over somebody. There are certain women, and some don't, but there are certain women that feel as if they are stand there, look pretty, don't talk unless you're spoken to. Like, I get it. If that's a frustration that you have, then you're around the wrong men.
Right.
You're around the wrong men, and you should not take that out on the world, as in all men are not the same,
right,
and all women are not the same. The issue is I've had a personal experience with feminism.
Yep.
And I literally saw someone transform into something I was just like
Optimus Prime.
Yeah, Optimus Prime. This person literally transformed, and they are not the same person.
Right.
And I think that
I've seen it.
I think that it's that, and it to me it blew my mind. I was just like, man, like this thing is this and what it is it's a cancerous ideology. It's an idea that I don't believe is correct, because it's this idea that women are want the power and want to be like men. They don't want equality anymore. They want the power of being a man.
Right.
And I don't think they understand that genetically men are masculine and women are feminine. And men are more aggressive and less agreeable. Women are a little softer.
Excluding Ronda Rousey.
Women are a little softer and they're more agreeable. And that is just the biology of humans and genders. Like, that's just how it is. Like, and it's because there are more women that want to work these high paying jobs and do these things. But the issue for me is I can't believe that they're really think that there's some kind of hierarchical structure of a patriarchy where only men are running the world.
What do you think is the reasoning behind the transition of going from equality for all to this hierarchy?
Authority and power. Women want.
So is it them wanting to be in power, or is it them seeing who's in power and they're because they're
admiring it. They hate it, but at the same time they want it.
It could be an effect of
they don't have good dads
of the people, right? Or it could be the effect of the people on top abusing that power and the fact that it's men. Because there are situations where that happens.
Well, here's the thing: you look at there's so many companies and so many people doing the right things, but then it's like you got 100 companies and 10 of them are corrupt.
Right.
It's like you see the corrupt ones.
Right.
You don't see what the good ones are doing.
True.
And the same goes for men. You have a bad...
That's what I'm saying, as far as if they see maybe a situation where it's just a 1% deal, where it's like this boss or this person on top is disrespecting these people, or treating them negatively or, you know, making them lesser than they actually are.
Right.
And then that person gets the mentality of that's how all men are.
Right.
And then it gets the pack mentality of then they've got 5 of their friends thinking that way. And then all of a sudden you have this like revolution of like women that are like F guys and all this kind of stuff.
It has gone along the lines of that.
And that's what you mentioned. You said it was I don't remember the exact wording of whatever you said, but it was a what is it, like an identity thing or like a thing. I'm trying to think of the damn word. You said it earlier. I'll have to think of it. I'm sorry. Keep going. I want to screw up pace up. My bad.
Well, you know, and to me, like I said,
to where they're a instead of being individual and being themselves, they're ideology. The ideology of that
group
movement,
identity.
Group identity. That's what
they're
I was
group
trying to
identity,
think of.
and
My bad.
they're a group identity, and they're not
individuals to themselves. They are the revolution idea.
Right.
Them as
and that's a
one.
really big issue is people don't know without the group. They've maybe been raised so long in the group that they haven't been taught how to be an individual.
Right.
To how to live their own life and be authentic to themselves. And they feel like if they're not a part of a group that stands for something or a group that is something big or, you know, then they're nothing.
Right.
You know, they just kind of they're empty. They're a ghost if they're not a part of something. And I think part of it
sounds like a non-violent version of like a cult or like a clan of people that are like they all have one mentality and one goal in mind, and when separated from that group, then,
it's like a hive mind.
Yeah, then they're screwed when they're separated from the queen.
And that's the thing they need.
Dead.
The reason they surround themselves with that is because they're in big word here. Big word.
Let's go for it.
Echo chamber. Have you heard of this word before?
God, I've heard the elimination chamber.
Elimination chamber.
Right.
Echo chamber is basically this idea that you only surround yourself with one type of people,
right?
And you only hear the opinions of those people.
True.
And you're only stuck on that, and then you hear it over and over and over again. It's like a cult.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
You
right.
hear it over and over and over again, and then
you're only around that mentality.
Right, that this is the truth, and these are the people you surround yourself with, and this is how it is, and then when you step in front of somebody and you try to have a real conversation with someone who's not a feminist, with or whatever you are,
right,
then anything you say that goes against their beliefs, they are incredibly offended.
Yeah,
like you can't say, you have to walk on eggshells. You can't say how you truly feel. You don't have freedom of thought. You're like chained up. You have to really think about what you're going to say around certain people
to defend the ideology of what they're
right.
After.
You can't say man,
that shirt would look good on you.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Do you think that shirt would look good on me? I bet you would. Blah 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 blah. Going from there.
Oh
right?
yeah, that's happened to me before.
That's where I got it from.
So I mean, it's not a thing. It's not a misogynist thing. To me, it's not where men are trash or bad or anything like that. Like if you surround yourself with people that keep telling you that men are trash, and you keep surrounding yourself with these ideas, or Tumblr is an issue. If you follow a lot of stuff on Tumblr, and I'm not trying to bash people on Tumblr or just people in general, but like it's just one of those things that if you surround yourself only with that stuff, you're going to think that that's how things are.
Right.
And that's not the real world, and that's part of the issue. Is like we said, going back to the very first topic was about social media. It's just I feel like the internet and social media have a fandom for everything. There is a literal fandom on Tumblr that worships and praises school shooters. It's insane, like it's crazy, and these ideologies they just grow and grow and grow, and people are just like. People, and it goes to people don't have someone to talk to.
Right.
I think it's just like this person agrees with me about this and about this. Oh, and they agree with me about all 5 of these things. Let's all be friends and talk shit about all these things, or have an issue with all these things. And I think that's what modern feminism has become. I think it's a group of women, or so, that not just a group of women, but there's even men in there as well that are modern feminists, which is disgusting to me, but it's crazy. That they have either been mistreated by men, or they have been sucked into the social media of how fake news, like some things that are not real.
Right.
And then they they become friends with these people online, and then they become friends with these people in real life, and then they're surrounded by these people, and then they're just like, this is what you believe. You only believe this because you're surrounded by everyone who believes the same. And then if you speak up at all, we're going to disown you, and we're going to kick you out of the group.
Right. It's that cult mentality.
Get the hell out of here with that shit.
Right.
Dude, that's cancerous, dude.
Yeah.
That is cult mentality, and that, like, people will realize that. People just don't have. It's hard because you need to find yourself and your own identity and who you really are, and that's the issue with me with modern feminism is that and the reason this has literally become an issue for me is I accidentally stumbled upon a video and then just went down a rabbit hole with it, down a rabbit hole, and you know, I wish I could sit here and say I'm a conservative Republican or I'm a left-leaning Democrat. Like, I'm neither. Like,
right.
I lean upon the enlightenment. I lean upon the truth, the rational and reason, common sense of the world. I listen to what people say. I take it into consideration. I don't just believe everything I see or hear.
Right.
I have my own opinions. I have free thought. Like, I'm able to make my own decisions. If everyone says they like something, and then you're like, I don't like this, and everyone's like, you're stupid, and I'm like, I'm not stupid. I don't like it.
I have an opinion.
I have an opinion. That's not yours.
Right.
If I was to sit here and tell you that something that everyone likes is shit, and everyone's going to be like, oh man, you're stupid. How do you not like that?
Why don't you think the way we think?
Why don't you think the way we think?
Because I'm a free thinker.
Yeah, because I'm a free thinker.
I have my own opinion. I'm my own person. I don't need to be somebody else.
And that goes back to me and you have a mutual understanding. When we decided we were going to talk about the shootings,
right.
I said, listen, man, we're probably going to have differing opinions. Like, let's just listen to each other and talk to each other about it. And we definitely wanted to get our opinions out and talk about what we wanted to talk about, but like, we understand.
It's having that. It's having what we said is having that middle ground, and one of the biggest things to me is putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and on its own understanding is just understand where they're coming from.
Right.
Whether you agree with somebody or whether you disagree with somebody,
right.
At least understand it. You could have your own opinion one way or another, but don't just completely put the wall up and not have, like, nope, just shut your mouth because that's completely wrong.
Right.
Am I guilty of doing that before because I get heated on some issues? Absolutely. But it comes back to the fact that you get it in your head and you get it in your mindset, this, I understand you, I get where you're coming from, and, you know, whether I agree or disagree, you have your rights to your opinions, I have my rights to my opinions, and that's the way it goes.
And let's talk about it, yeah.
And people should have that mentality of be okay to be yourself. Right. If this is what you think,
right.
don't be afraid to say it. Don't be sitting there like, all my friends think, you know, this new thing is really, really cool, but I think it's dumb, but I'm just going to go along with it. Like, yeah, you might get, like, ostracized from your people, but guess what? You're staying true to who you are.
Right.
And to me, that is one of the most important things.
Well, it's also compromise too, because
if
if you like the person that you're hanging out with, or you like the friend or the girlfriend, you compromise and you do things for them because you do it for them.
But you don't change who you are.
Yeah, you don't change. But I mean, like, yeah, you don't change who you are. You can say, hey, I'm not a huge fan of this, but I want to go to support you, and I want to go because I know you're gonna like it, and you know, and that's that. But
it comes back to understanding and being respectful of others' opinions and others' thoughts,
right.
and how people are, for sure.
So the biggest thing that I would say to end here, it would be listen to understand,
right.
Not to respond.
Yeah.
Because to me, when it comes to this, is I really wanted to make it clear that I do not have an issue with feminism. I have an issue with modern feminism,
right.
And how it's affecting women that are troubled. That
right.
I feel like. And it goes back to that need help. They need someone to talk to, and they need to figure out. A therapist needs to sit down with them and say, and maybe they don't want to do that. Like you said, maybe they don't want to do that, or maybe they don't think they need to, or they don't think they need help.
Or they don't want to bring it to the surface and say that there's an issue because they don't
want to
like
say
you said, because they don't want to say that there's an issue because that's their normal.
Yeah, they think it's okay.
Right.
And to me, I think it's more harmful to women than it is anything.
Right.
And there's not really a huge portion, but there is a growing number of modern feminism, and it's just becoming an issue to where these women are not talking to people. They're not talking to someone that can listen to them and say, this is my issues, this is what's wrong. They're not individuals. They're a part of a group identity.
Right.
They're part of a hive mind, and they don't have their own they have no personal opinions about these issues, like how they truly feel. If you sit down and try to talk to them,
the group opinion is their opinion.
Their group opinion is their opinion, and they agree to be a part of the group because they want to be a part of something, and they want to be a person in something. They want to be a part of something to feel like they're whole. To me, that's what I wanted to get across and a lot of it has to do with authority and power. They think that they want to have the power and the aggressiveness as men.
And I think we've done this 2 weeks in a row now. We've done this with the first episode and this episode. It ties into our first topic, the last episode, of feeling in power and feeling like they need to be part of something, or feeling like they need to be known. Same as people that are in mass shootings. Same as the people that commit the mass shootings. They want to be known. They want to be heard. Mm-hmm. They're not a part of anything. They want to feel like deep inside. I feel like their untreated issues is they're not. They feel like they're alone.
Yeah.
And they feel like there's nobody to grasp onto. There's no family they have, or whatever the issue is. Now, it's not with every situation or every person that's a part of this, but I feel like and also the thought of being in power.
Yeah.
They've been powerless probably their entire life. They've been powerless to their own issues, mental issues, family issues, friends issues. They've never had the power.
Afraid to speak out, speak their mind.
Exactly. Afraid to say what's wrong with them. Afraid to, and I think that goes along the lines of being afraid to speak your opinion and being afraid to say an issue that you might have that might negatively or make you look a certain way to somebody else in a negative light. Stop being ashamed. Don't be ashamed of, I have an issue.
Yeah.
Everybody has issues.
Right.
Everybody has problems. Everybody has things that they need to deal with. Don't be ashamed of that, because the more you fester it, the more it festers, the more you sweep it under the rug, the bigger the issue comes, and then you have problems that arise with these mass shootings, or you have problems that arise with people that are failing to find their own identity as a human.
Yeah.
I think that's huge, and I think it does tie back into the first topic too, which is the same way that we did last time with social media and relationships and how the world connects us as humans. So this will now this is going to wrap up our weekly show here. If you guys have any opinions, I know we spoke a lot about a lot of different topics here. Definitely feel free to drop some comments down in the section down there, and let us know your opinions on the cases here, whether it be how the school shootings and all this kind of stuff is taking over, unfortunately, and whether gun issues or mental health or whatever it goes like that, the damn Laurel and Yanny stuff. What do you guys hear? Do you guys hear Laurel? Because that's what we hear. And obviously the stuff that Ryan Mr. Jarvis, goddamn, I'm going to get better at that. That Jarvis dropped some knowledge on about all the feminism, things like that, and the issues that we tied together with, wanting to speak out and wanting to be able to give your thoughts and how you feel, and be able to express those without feeling, remorse, or without feeling, a sense of shame or something like that, to be able to get out what you really feel in the inside, which is, it's so important to be able to get that out. But yeah, this is now going to wrap up this edition of the Dead Pulse Theory. From my partner Jarvis, I am Jman, and we will see you guys next time.